He was supposed to be my brother, but when he stole what mattered most to me and thought he could get away with it, I stayed quiet. At first, what he didn't know, I was already planning how to take back everything and make sure he lost what he loved most. My name's Mason, and if you'd told me 5 years ago that the guy I'd call brother would be the reason I almost lost everything I cared about, I would have laughed in your face. But that's before I met Cole, my mom's new husband's son, the golden boy with the charming smile, trust fund energy, and a way of twisting every room to revolve around him. When our parents got married, I tried to play it cool, be the chill stepbrother, not make things weird. But from day one, Cole treated me like background noise. He was always on, always putting on this perfect act in front of adults, honor roll student, basketball captain, kissed up to teachers, and got praised like he walked on water. And at first, I figured, fine, let him have his little spotlight. I wasn't trying to compete. I stayed in my lane, worked on my art, helped out at my part-time job, and kept my head down. But the thing is, Cole didn't want just the spotlight. He wanted everything. The real turning point came junior year of high school, when I landed an opportunity that could literally change my life. A mentorship with a professional game designer, someone who'd worked on AAA titles and was offering me one-on-one coaching, portfolio reviews, and even a letter of recommendation for art school. It wasn't handed to me. I'd spent years building a digital portfolio, uploading sketches, character designs, even coded my own minigame from scratch. I got in purely on talent. And when I told my family at dinner, everyone clapped, except Cole. He just gave this tight smile and said, "Wow, didn't know doodling counted as a career." My mom brushed it off, but I caught the look in his eye, jealousy. Like something just snapped. From that moment, he started finding subtle ways to undermine me. He'd accidentally unplug my computer while I was rendering scenes, borrow my sketchbook and conveniently lose it, laugh with his friends about how I was living in a fantasy world. But I ignored him. Until the night before my final review with my mentor, the one that would decide if he wrote me a personal recommendation for the college of my dreams. I stayed up all night polishing my work, then left my drive plugged into my desktop and crashed on the couch. Next morning, it was gone. My entire portfolio vanished. I tore the room apart. No sign of it. I thought maybe I'd misplaced it, until I saw Cole walking in from the garage, smirking. "Lose something," he said, tossing me a USB. But it wasn't my drive. It was a blank one. Empty. And then he said, "Maybe next time, don't leave your dreams lying around." My blood went cold. I had no proof, but I knew. I had no backup. No time to recreate my work. I bombed the final review, couldn't explain why my drive was blank, and just like that, the mentorship was over. My mentor emailed me with a cold apology and said he couldn't recommend someone who wasn't prepared. My dream? Crushed. And Cole? He went on like nothing happened. A week later, he got praised in the school assembly for being accepted into some elite summer leadership camp, one he only got into because he used my ideas from an essay I'd written for English. He'd found it in our shared Google Drive and reworded it just enough to make it his. My mom and stepdad didn't believe me when I tried to tell them. They said I was just jealous. That's when I stopped playing fair. I decided I wasn't going to let him win. If Cole wanted to sabotage me, fine. But I was going to make sure he had nothing left to sabotage. I started tracking everything, screenshots, timestamps, even set up an old phone as a hidden camera in our shared home office. Every lie, every stolen idea, every arrogant smirk while he badmouthed me to his friends behind my back. I captured it all. Then I went quiet. Focused. I rebuilt my portfolio from scratch. Learned faster. Worked smarter. And started reaching out to new mentors under a different name online. No traces Cole could find. I used an alias, built a following on art forums, even sold a few indie assets that caught the eye of real developers. While Cole was posting gym selfies and bragging about grindset, I was actually grinding. And once I had enough momentum, I started dropping pieces of evidence anonymously. First, I exposed how he plagiarized that leadership essay, sent it to the camp board, along with the original Google Doc and timestamps. Result? He got dropped from the program. Next, I emailed his school's honor society with proof he cheated on his midterms, airdropped cheat sheets, caught on my hidden camera. He was suspended from all extracurriculars. But I didn't stop there. Because what Cole didn't know is that I had been offered a seat in a startup incubator, a program that helps teen developers launch real companies, and I had said yes. Quietly, privately, under my alias. I developed a mobile game, launched it with a small team of online collaborators, And within 6 months, it was trending. Not worldwide or anything, but enough to get attention. And guess who applied for an internship with us without realizing who he was talking to? That's right, Cole. He saw the company name, saw the app's success, and jumped at the chance. Said he loved our mission and wanted to bring leadership skills to the table. I read his email 3 times, just to be sure. And then I smiled, because the trap was already set. But what I did next? That's when he truly lost everything. So there I was, reading the internship email from my own stepbrother, the same guy who destroyed my shot at college, ruined my art portfolio, and stole every ounce of praise our family ever had for me. And he had no idea the creative director he was applying to work under was me. I didn't respond right away. I wanted to make sure every piece was in place before I triggered the trap. My startup, under the name Pixel Burst Studios, had picked up traction fast. The game we launched, Mecha Minds, was a story-driven puzzle platformer with deep lore and a unique art style, most of which I designed myself. It blew up in online communities, got picked up by a few YouTubers, and before I knew it, we were ranking top 10 on the indie app store charts. My alias was Kai. No last name, no photo. Just a sleek bio and a portfolio that screamed credibility. We had interest from 2 angel investors and were in talks with a small publisher. And then Cole, completely unaware, sent a resume that read like a joke. It was filled with fake references, exaggerated titles, and straight-up lies about leading team projects and coding experience, which I knew for a fact he didn't have. The guy once asked me how to open a zip file. I forwarded the email to my co-founder, a friend I'd made from an online dev forum, and explained everything. We came up with a plan. We decided to hire Cole as an unpaid intern for a trial run. But the work we gave him? It was all a setup. We handed him dummy projects filled with planted mistakes, some subtle, some obvious, and watched as he fumbled, blamed others, and tried to cover his tracks. Every meeting was recorded. Every lie? Documented. He even tried to steal part of a design doc and present it as his own in a Slack channel, where I'd already embedded a watermark linking the asset back to me. It was glorious. But the cherry on top came 3 weeks into his internship when we arranged a meeting with a client, actually a fake profile we made, voiced by a friend of ours, pretending to be a potential investor. The goal? See if Cole would take the bait and try to claim leadership over the project. Spoiler alert, he did. He rambled for 10 minutes about how he built the UI system from scratch, took creative ownership of the storyline, and even said he was mentoring the younger designers. I let him dig the hole deeper. And when he finally finished talking, I turned on my mic for the first time during any meeting and said, "That's interesting, Cole, because I am the creative director, and I don't remember you doing any of that." The silence that followed was so thick, you could have cut it with a stylus. He froze. My face was on screen now, full webcam, and the look on his face was like he'd seen a ghost. "Mason," he muttered. "What? How?" I didn't let him finish. "You stole my future," I said calmly. "So I built a new one. And now, you just lied your way into a professional setting. On camera. Repeatedly." My co-founder chimed in. "Cole, your internship is terminated. Effective immediately." And just like that, he was kicked from every channel, removed from the workspace, and blocked from the email threads. But it didn't stop there. I knew Cole cared about image more than anything. His online persona was his crown. He posted like an influencer, bragged like a tech bro, and crafted this success narrative he clung to like it was oxygen. So I leaked just enough of the meeting video on my dev blog, with identities blurred, to make the story hit hard. I titled it, "What Happens When a Liar Tries to Lead?" It went semi-viral. Not millions of views, but enough. Enough that his school's entrepreneurship club dropped him. Enough that the few companies he applied to afterwards saw the video and ghosted him. And enough that he finally felt what it was like to lose something he couldn't fake his way into. Back at home, he spiraled. He tried to spin the story to our parents, claimed I had manipulated everything, that I had set him up. But this time, I didn't have to fight alone. I printed out all the screenshots, all the emails, all the recordings, sat down with my mom and stepdad, handed them a folder labeled Truth, and said, "Read it. All of it. Then tell me again who you think I am." My mom cried. My stepdad went pale. They finally saw the damage Cole had done. It wasn't just missed opportunities, it was betrayal. Years of it. And they realized they'd enabled it. Cole was grounded. Yes, Even as an 18-year-old, my stepdad pulled every plug. His car privileges? Gone. College fund? Frozen. Internship recs? Burned. And still, he didn't apologize. Instead, he doubled down, said he'd make it without us, stormed out, and tried to build a TikTok brand ranting about toxic family environments and jealous siblings. But no one cared. His name was already mud in the spaces that mattered. Meanwhile, I kept growing. Mecha Minds got picked up by a publisher. Our small dev team got real contracts, and I was invited to speak at an indie game expo, where I told the story of a nameless betrayer who pushed me to become the best version of myself. I didn't mention Cole's name. I didn't have to. The results spoke louder than revenge ever could. But there was still one thing left. One final move that would make sure he lost everything he cared about, and it was already in motion. Cole thought the worst was behind him, that getting kicked out of my company's internship, being exposed online, and losing the support of our parents was the full extent of his downfall. But he was wrong, because I wasn't finished. Not out of hate, not out of spite, but because Cole hadn't just hurt me. He had manipulated, stolen from, and humiliated people long before I ever had the tools to fight back, and I wasn't the only one who deserved justice. After my talk at the Indie Expo, I was contacted by a recruiter from a tech accelerator program, a legit one, funded by major venture capitalists and geared toward high school prodigies entering the startup world. They offered me a development grant, mentorship, and exposure beyond anything I'd ever dreamed of, all because Mecha Minds had become a poster child for creative innovation and resilience. I accepted immediately, but then something unexpected happened. One of the program's representatives reached out and said, "We were actually considering a guy named Cole Lancaster a few months back. Related to you?" I responded honestly and explained everything. I even sent them the video, the portfolio theft proof, and his plagiarized materials. The recruiter's response was chilling. "We're glad we didn't move forward. We had some concerns about his authenticity, and you just confirmed everything." But they didn't stop there. They blacklisted him. Quietly. Permanently. Cole's name was added to internal databases shared by multiple startup networks. It meant he couldn't pitch to their investors, apply to their fellowships, or even show up at their events without being flagged. And just like that, the final door to his fantasy future slammed shut. But it still wasn't public. Not yet. I waited for the perfect opportunity, and it came when Cole tried to launch his own app. Ironic, right? After dragging me for years about my little projects, he finally decided to build one of his own. The problem? He didn't have the skills. So, like always, he tried to fake it. He stole assets, bought cheap templates online, and launched something he claimed was the next big AI assistant. The UI was buggy, the AI wasn't trained. It was basically a glorified chatbot with a glitched interface. But somehow, he landed a podcast interview with a small local tech show. And that's when I struck. The day before the interview aired, I uploaded a side-by-side breakdown of his app and the stolen code from an open-source project. I didn't accuse him directly. I just titled it, "Why You Should Vet Your Founders Before Investing." The tech community did the rest. Reddit threads popped up overnight. People recognized the code snippets, and soon, Cole was being called out not just as a liar, but as a fraud. The interview? Canceled. His app? Pulled from stores. And the story? It spread further than anything I could have hoped. And finally, Cole's house of cards collapsed. He tried to go live and explain himself, but the chat flooded with questions, screenshots, and brutal callouts. Sponsors he was trying to get ghosted him. Collaborators left. Even his social media accounts started hemorrhaging followers. He went quiet for weeks, and when he reemerged, he was just a shadow. No more bravado, no more cocky posts, just a few vague quotes about starting over and learning lessons the hard way. At home, things had changed permanently. My mom apologized to me directly, more than once, and admitted she'd been blind to Cole's manipulations for years. My stepdad, humiliated by how far his son had fallen, backed off entirely. And for the first time in a long time, our house felt calm. Quiet. No more tension at dinner, no more fake smiles. Just peace. As for me, I got accepted to my dream college on a full ride thanks to my game design work and launched a second title with my team. This one even more ambitious than the first. We got press coverage, interviews, even interest from a major publisher. But here's the thing. I never once mentioned Cole's name publicly. I didn't need to. His fall wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about exposure, about truth, and about making sure people like him didn't climb off the backs of others. In the end, Cole didn't just lose me as a stepbrother. He lost his reputation, his career prospects, and the one thing he valued more than anything: control. I took that away. Not with violence, not with anger, but with patience, evidence, and a plan. And now, I'm thriving, and he's trying to pick up the pieces. So if someone ever tries to destroy your future, don't just fight back. Outgrow them, outsmart them, and let the truth be your loudest weapon. Oh, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more crazy real-life revenge stories, and turn on notifications. You never know who's going to betray who next.